Welcome to the second video of division recaps. We are now in the AFC East, starting out with the New England Patriots, who came first place. Bills in second, Dolphins in third, Jets in fourth. Take a look. The Patriots finished the year 12-4 and Super Bowl champs. Started the year out 2-0 and then dropped two to the Ravens and Bills. Come back against a win against the Broncos. And then far to the Seahawks, they're 3-3. Jets, Rams, Bills, Colts, Jets. Again, they go on a 5-game win streak. They go 8-3. And they follow the Dolphins on the road. They always seem to do that. They're 8-4. The Bills are right around 8-4 too at this point. Yes, the Bills were, the Bills had the win against them in week 3 or week 4, and the Bills were for majority of the season in first place in the AFC East. Up until like week 14 through 17, where the Patriots went 4-0 in those 4 weeks, and finished the season 12-4 and as the 2 seed. Um, they finished at number 1 in the AFC East for another season, finish as the 2 seed, and then they won the Super Bowl. Beat the Broncos, beat the Ravens, beat the Eagles. Both of these teams they played in the regular season. Well, they beat the Broncos in the regular season. Finished 2-0 against Peyton Manning in his debut season with the Broncos. Beat the Ravens by the same score that they lost to the Ravens in the regular season in overtime in this game. And then to win their 4th Super Bowl under Brady and Belichick, they beat the Eagles in overtime, the first overtime game in Super Bowl history, where Andy Reid now falls to 0-2 against Belichick. They're the number 1 offense in the NFL and the number 1 defense in the NFL, with the number 1 amount of points scored and the number 3 points allowed. So the best team overall. It doesn't get much better than that. Tom Brady, starting quarterback, All-Pro, second team. Second in MVP voting, the only quarterback this season to throw for over 5,000 yards, 5,163, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and a 75% completion percentage. A really good year for him. Run game wasn't great. Danny Woodhead was the lead back. He's a free agent. I'd be interested to see if they end up bringing him back. Wasn't great on the there. Had a really good playoff run, catching the football, and was really good all season catching the football. But Stephen Ridley and Jane Vereen really emerged. Late in the season as really good options. Tom Brady also had a rushing touchdown there, 26 carries for 50 or 43 yards in a touchdown. Receiving, Gronk, best tight end in football. Amazing postseason. You watch those games. He was unstoppable. 99 catches, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Wes Welker, free agent. Gonna be interesting to see if they choose to bring him back. 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. He got hurt in the postseason. They didn't have him for the Super Bowl where they won. So that's gonna decrease his value a lot. Deion Branch, 716, 6 touchdowns. He's like 34. He might retire. Danny Woodhead obviously is here. Really good player, really good pass catcher. Julian Edelman, that could be the new replacement for Mr. Welker. He's very similar. Welker's 5'9", 185. He's 5'10", 198. So an inch and 13 pounds on him. Very similar type of player. Brandon Lloyd, 4 touchdowns, 289 yards, and Aaron Hernandez had 3 touchdowns, 330 yards. And Jabbar Gaffney, 2 touchdowns on 118 yards. Blocking. Sebastian Vollmer, not great this season. 13 sacks allowed. Dan Connolly, 5 sacks. Logan Mankins, 2. This was one of the better offensive lines than only Brian Waters, 2. And Nate Solder, I think, was an All-Pro. Only had 1 sack allowed in 1,024 snaps. Very, very impressive. Defensively, Gerard Mayo was insane. 22 sacks, not even the most in the NFL. Kyle Arrington, Dante Hightower, rookie. Devin McCourty, you got a bunch of names here. There's Big Vince. Tex lost. Gerard Mayo, 20. Vince Warford, 13. Brandon Dedrick, 12. Dante Hightower, 7 sacks. Not Ross Ventrone. But Gerard Mayo, 22 sacks and a pick. Vince Wilfork, 13. Rob Ninkovich, 3.5. Chandler Jones, 3. The rookie. Brandon Dedrick, 2. So a lot of the pressure came from Gerard Mayo. Oops. Interceptions, 2 from Chung, 2 from McCourty, 2 from Arrington. Excuse me. 1 from Mayo, 1 from Sergio Brown, and 1 from Donta Hightower. 3 first round move from Brandon Spikes, 2 from Vince Wilfork, 1 from Donta Hightower. A couple recoveries there, and then safeties, none. Defensive touchdowns, 1 from Devin McCourty. Kicking wise, Steven Gostkowski is their kicker. 91% from field goals, 94 from extra points. Had 1 field goal blocked. Pretty good kicker. And then Zoltan Mesko didn't have to punt much because this offense was the best in the NFL. You can see by his numbers, he's pretty good. Man, Shane Vereen only got 5 kickoff returns all year, not including playoffs. Obviously, Shane Vereen had the insane kickoff return touchdown in the biggest stage in sports, the Super Bowl. So that was really good for him, and I expect to see him in this offense a lot more next season. And Wes Welker was the punt returner. He had no touchdowns. So that's Patriots 12-4, Super Bowl champions over the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we go to Buffalo, almost in Canada. So the Bills, under Chan Gailey, who was on the hot seat, finished 10-6. They made the playoffs. Started the year off with a win against the Jets, lost 20 by the Chiefs, beat the Browns and the Patriots. They were 3-1. And they lost to San Fran and devastating, got destroyed and lost to the Cardinals. So they're like, okay, this team isn't legit. And then they beat the Titans, so they're 4-3 going in the bye. They beat the Texans, who are a good team, to 11-6, so they're 5-3. They lose to Patriots. All right, yeah, they're no team to worry about. And then they win, and they win again and again and again. Got a nice little win streak, a 10-8 win. Got some interesting scores this season. Then they lose back-to-back games to the Seahawks and Dolphins. They need a win to get in. They do so against the Jets. They sweep the Jets this season and finish 10-6 and get in the playoffs. Anything could happen in the playoffs, but it didn't happen. Fitzmagic throws 3 interceptions, and Peyton Manning throws 5 touchdowns. That gives you all you need to see to know who won that football game. Statistically, 25th offense, 7th defense. So that's where a lot of their other points came from. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 3,400 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. 63% completion percentage. Good season from him. Run game wasn't great. C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson split carries. 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns for them and 5 total fumbles. Stevie Johnson was the leading receiver. 9.29 and 3 touchdowns. Brad Smith, 5.7, 8.5. Lee Smith, 5.13 and 5. C.J. Spiller was good through the air. A lot of guys getting catches, getting touchdowns. Fred Jackson caught one. Corey McIntyre. Offensive line wise, this team was, defense is where this team was good at. Tackles were bad. Guards weren't great. Andy Levici was a Pro Bowler though, and maybe an All Pro. He was actually pretty good. And Eric Wood, center, pretty good. Defensively, this is where this team excels. And it all starts and begins with the 2 men up front, Kyle Williams and Marcel Darius, and then you have Mario Williams, Nick Barnett as well. You take a look, 14.5 for Marcel Darius, 13.5 for Mario Williams. 10 from Kyle Williams, and 18 tackles for loss. Nick Barnett had 6 and 15 tackles for loss. They were really, really good in the trenches. And he got Stephon Gilmore. Oops. Patriots legend Stephon Gilmore. Jerry Sport had 4 interceptions. George Wilson and Elias McClellan had 3. Gilmore, Williams, and Terrence McGee had 2. And Mario Williams had 1. A lot of Williams. Jesus Christ. There you got 1, 2. You got Wilson. So, couple forced fumbles. Nick Barnett had 2 fumble recoveries, 1 blocked kick from Kyle Williams, 1 safety from Kirk Morrison, and 2 defensive touchdowns by Elias McClellan and Nick Barnett. Ryan Lindell, definitely they're going to get a new kicker. He missed 11 field goals, shot 65%, or kicked 65%, made 65% of his field goals. Didn't miss an extra point, though, but missed a lot. 2 for 5. I mean, yikes, these numbers are bad. Yeah, so I doubt he's back next season. Punting, Brad Mormon. Just look at his numbers and decide for yourself whether you think he's good or not. I think he's pretty good. A couple different kick returners, but no touchdowns. 1 punt return touchdown from Brad Smith. Nice. I don't even remember that, but 95 kickoff return, that would do it. And yeah, that's the Bills. They beat expectations. They make the playoffs, and with a really good defense, with a really, really good defense. Then we go down to Florida to go party with Joe Philbin in Miami. That'd be a pretty boring party if you party with Joe Philbin. They go 8-8, and they really had a really good second half of the year. As you'll see, they started out in the bye. They were 2-4, and their offense was really bad. 17 points, 9 points, 0 points, 24, nice, 3, 7 points, 2-4. Beat the Jets, they're 3-4, 3-5, 4-5, they're 4-6. No one's really looking at them to do anything. Then they beat the Patriots, and then they beat the 49ers, and then they beat the Jaguars, and then they beat the Bills. They're 8-7 on a 4-game win streak going into that last game of the year. If they won and got some help, they could get into the playoffs, but they didn't. They lost by 38 points. Finished the season 8-8. As you can see, no postseason play for the Miami Dolphins. Really good second half of the year, though. Have to be proud of that. 28 offense. Yeah, the offense was bad. Defensively is where it's going to shine. 10th defense in the NFL. Ryan Tannehill had a all-right rookie year. Really stepped up in the second half of the season. 22 touchdowns, 12 picks, 60% completion percentage, 3,400 yards. The run game wasn't great because everybody was hurt. Yeah, Lamar Miller and Reggie Bush were hurt. Jonas Gray just wasn't very good. Not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name, but he was their leading receiver. Anthony Fasano had a good year. Brian Hartline. This team was very boring on offense and very, very fun on defense. Offensive line was bad. You got some names on there, but they're bad. You know, the bully, Richie Incognito. The Hernandez defender, Mike Pouncey. Defensively, this is where this team rolls. Carlos Dansby, Richard Marshall, Jonathan Vilma, Chris Clemens, Cameron Wake, Kevin Burrett, Rashad Jones, Sean Smith, Cameron Wake, Kevin Burrett, Randy Starks. Really good in the trenches. Cameron Wake, 20 sacks. Starks, 11.5. Paul Soli, 6. Burnett, 13 and 4.5. Carlos Dansby had 3. Kyle Missy had 2. Jonathan Vilmore had 1.5 and 2 interceptions. 5 interceptions from Richard Marshall, 3 from Clemens, 2 from Vilma, 2 from Smith, and 1 from Jones. A couple of blocked kicks there. 1 safety, One touchdown, both by Kevin Burnett, or two touchdowns, and then Sean Smith got one. Dan Carpenter, really good on extra points, pretty good on field goals, only missed four. Pretty good kicker. And Brandon Fields, um, pretty good punter. All the punters are pretty good. Three different guys got some kickoff returns, and a couple guys got punt returns, but no touchdowns. So Miami is going to have an interesting offseason. You want to try to build on Ryan Tannehill's rookie season. Joe Philbin will return after an 8-8 year. They might make some coaching changes in the offense. Pat Shurmur is someone to look at if they decide to fire the offensive coordinator late in the cycle here. But yeah, that's the Dolphins, and then we get into one more team in the AFC East, and that is the New York Sexy Rexy Ryan Jets. They go 5-11. Really disappointing year. Rex Ryan goes into next season on the hot seat after his two AFC Championship appearances a couple years ago. 0-4 in the preseason was a sight to come. They weren't great. They were 3-3 at one point after the first 6 weeks, but after that it was bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. You know, they're 3-8. They're not really doing anything, and they win two of their next or three. 5-9. Maybe they get to 7-9. Maybe they stay out of double-digit losses. They don't. They lose to the Chargers and the Bills. They finish 5-11. No postseason play for Rex Ryan, who will be on the hot seat next season. The worst offense in the NFL. They fired their offensive coordinator. Defensively, they were better, but not great. 30th in points scored. And 14th in points allowed. Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow were the quarterbacks. Neither one of them were great. Tim Tebow got some playing time. Mark Sanchez, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 60% completion rate, 3,082 yards. The running game was bad. This offense was bad. This whole team was bad. Tim Tebow had a rushing touchdown. I mean, that deserves a banner. That deserves a banner in the rafters. Tim Tebow rushing touchdown 2011. I mean, that's beautiful. Chaz Schillis was the leading receiver. Dustin Keller. Dustin Keller was actually pretty good. I'll give him credit. Santonio Holmes, not so much. Super Bowl hero. But yeah, this team was just bad all around. Rex Ryan. Sebastian Hayer. Jeez, I didn't realize he was that bad. The Brickishaw Ferguson wasn't great either. Not my boy. Yeah, this is just an ugly football team. David Harris was good. I think he was an All-Pro. Calvin Pace and Muhammad Wilkerson had good years. David Harrison, not so much. Wilkerson 9.5, Pace 9, David Harris 4, Brian Thomas 4. In the sack department, a couple guys got 2 and 1. David Harris 2 picks, and a lot of guys, including Darrelle Revis, had one. Darrelle Revis was a lockdown corner, but it was kind of lost in such a shitty team. Forced fumbles. Laron Landry, another really good guy in that secondary. Just team wasn't good. They also have Jeremiah Bell, another pretty good player. He's older, but and they have Antonio Cromartie. I forgot how much talent this team has. They just really disappointed. Safeties none, defensive touchdowns none. Nick Folk was their kicker, missed one extra point and 4 field goals. So we'll see if they decide to replace him. And T.J. Connolly. You look at those numbers, I think, hey, not a bad punter. Dexter Jackson, Joe McKnight, and Jeremy Curley all got receiving or kick return duties. Tony Hardy had punt return duties and no touchdowns there. 5-11 for the Jets. 31st offense. I forget who did they hire as offensive coordinator, but not a great season. And that is the AFC East recap. AFC East had the champs for the first time since 2005, where the Patriots won it. So that's AFC East recap. Next is AFC South.